about just having a pretty face. It's like, have a look what they did to Aloy in whatever that... Aloy?
In
Horizon Zero Dawn. Fable. The Fable trailer, right? And Mary Jane in Spider-Man. Did I already mention Mary Jane? Like, they go out of their way to not only uglify, make women look like men. It's almost like that they're trying to imply something there.
True, like I said, graphically, the combat-wise looks great, but I can't get past their faces looking like little girls. Either way, we'll see how they turn out whenever they're released. I feel like people like this really do a disservice to the actual bad actors that are trying to use, like, lolly content. I'm gonna be real. I think this is pretty close. Like, what are we talking about here? It's just such a crazy thing to say.
I can't get past the over-sexualization of Stellar Blade. It would have been passable if their female characters didn't have the faces of a dang child. Really freaking weird. And if you find this arousing, you need to get all your hard drives and phones checked by the FBI.
What are you talking about?
Conversation swirling around the digital renderings of characters in the pixelated realms of video games, especially when it comes to the brushstrokes that paint female characters in hues of attractiveness, is a rich tapestry woven with threads of gender representation, inclusivity, and the unbridled spirit of artistic freedom. It's a debate as layered as the finest in-game environments, where every texture and shadow tells a story. Enter the portrayal of attractive female characters in titles like Stellar Blade, a decision that, far from being a mere brushstroke of vanity, serves a palette of purposes that can enhance the game's allure, narrative depth, and player connection. However, the chorus of critics who view such character designs as a narrow gateway that limits inclusivity or as a problematic ideal to aspire to calls for a deeper dive into the waters of the discourse. A nuanced exploration akin to navigating the complex lore of a well-crafted RPG. It's a conversation that invites us to toggle the joystick of our perspectives, exploring the labyrinthine dungeons of this debate with a wit sharp enough to cut through the thickest of plot armors.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Now, all jokes aside, I know this originated from the whole male gaze feminist theory, but honestly, when you see characters that are already established and then you change them so drastically to make other people who are insecure about themselves feel better, it comes off as very cheesy and like projection. On one hand, you have people arguing that since it's a fantasy, there shouldn't be anyone upset, right? Okay, if it's all rooted in fantasy, why then do some people get triggered and offended to the point of demanding changes, right? On the other hand, there are those who argue from the stance that video game characters being pixelated creations bear no resemblance to real women. Yes, precisely because they're fantasy and they're video game characters. I find it really amusing how people flip-flop between sides of the argument based on their whims for the day. People shouldn't get worked up about a game's intro menu or a character creator asking for your pronouns because, after all, it's a fantasy and everyone should just chill out about that, right? I completely agree. If it doesn't affect the gameplay and you're given the full freedom to customize your character however you want, that's what customization is all about. I agree with that. Live your best life and immerse yourself in your fantasy world. That's fair.
Still haven't got my balance. Though my eyesight seems to be better than ever. Especially when it comes to...
But then, it's unfair to shift the goalposts whenever people express a desire to see attractive characters in games, only to be met with claims that real women don't look like that. First of all, where exactly do you live? What planet do you hail from where your human women don't look like that? Seriously, what are some people even talking about? Then you have ignorant people who, I guess, have been around box-shaped people their entire life, so they think no other body type exists, or people like the poster from the intro portion of this video claiming that grown women outside their bubble of existence look like children.
God, you're weird, aren't you? I mean, you're really weird.
Maybe if that's all you're used to seeing from that perspective, you're gonna see it in everything. I don't know if maybe you're used to seeing children in makeup where you live, or I don't know, if you're seeing children everywhere, that's a sign that you probably need to get checked. Or maybe your women age like milk, and so every other ethnicity out there looks immature by comparison. And I know I'm being a little snarky when I say that, but have you ever considered that maybe a lot of people who age very quickly have different genetics or lifestyle choices that cause them to age more, like wearing tons of makeup and doing meth? I don't know. I mean, both my husband and I have family genetics that cause people to look way younger than they actually are. At 106, the age at which my grandfather died, he looked like a 60-year-old man with the smoothest skin ever. Most people from my country look that way as well. I've been carded as an adult. My husband as well has been thought to be a minor just based on how we look. And most people from his ethnicity look that way too, and mine. Both of us have been told that we look like children, and it wasn't malicious. No one was trying to be mean to us. But then imagine having someone come out and utter some nonsense like this about characters in a video game that have our ethnic background or look like us. It just comes off as straight racism. Now, I don't think the person who made the post is racist. I think he's just ignorant. But after it became a discussion, I realized that this is a common trope, and I don't know where we got to the point where people who are attractive or just look like normal people all of a sudden are not realistic. Yet, as I said before, that argument makes no sense, because even though you're pushing from some ounce of realism in video games are still fantasy, so why would it matter? Also, on another note, a lot of women, especially I think the model here was a Korean woman, most of that society, it's very, very strict when it comes to beauty standards. So everyone, including women, especially in other countries as well, wear makeup specifically to look younger than they are. I watched this Korean woman. She is 50-something, I think, and her husband is 34. And because she wears so much makeup and she got plastic surgery, you can't tell. In certain light or where she's not wearing a lot of makeup, she looks her age. Have you seen videos on the internet how people are able to make themselves look completely different based on the type of makeup they're wearing? And the woman in the game, in the Stellar Blade game, is wearing makeup. You know, like most women in video games. So even though I'm a straight woman, I love to watch other women in video games. I don't care if they're wearing makeup or whatever, but I like watching pretty people. Like, other people like watching pretty people. I don't like playing with Barbie dolls growing up. I don't like them. I still don't. But I guess this would be my equivalent. I can't wear skyscraper ankle death break heels, much less fight in them or dance in them, and most people can't. There are certain outfits on these characters I would never wear in public, but yet you get to explore being this person in a video game and watching her kick ass while she has a ponytail longer than her body, which is so unrealistic because that would have gotten caught in so many situations where she's fighting. I mean, someone can literally grab it and wrap it around her neck and tie up her whole body and restrict her with her own ponytail, and she would have been scalped a long time ago. But everybody who is mature understands that this is a video game. It's fantasy. Even kids understand this. Those pearl clutchers are acting like the helicopter parents in those old articles talking about the satanic panic, where everyone thinks that video games are out to get the kids and they're all evil, and if there's violence in video games, that's gonna make humans violent by default. Why didn't they say that about Super Mario when he was going around crushing all those innocent animals? You know, but healthy, sound-minded people are able to differentiate what is fantasy and what is not. And if you can't differentiate that, or you're having an issue, then you need mental professional help. That's a very clear sign. If in your mind exists a fantasy and you think the entire world is supposed to revolve around the fantasy or fit that fantasy, then you are mentally ill. Likewise, if you try to tell people that women with certain body types in video games don't exist, where I can see that being the case in some circumstances, and most of the recent portrayals, it comes off like you're a narcissist who's never walked outside their basement or house, or turned on the TV, or seen social media. I don't know why women are always the ones getting flack for this. Like, nobody's complaining about attractive video game character men. Where's the ire for that? They're able to have their bowling alley groins and ironclad abs and steroid-looking bodies, and people can thirst over them all they want, and they're fine. And talk about unachievable body types. Most of those men in video games are bulked up like they're on a freaking planet of steroids. And nobody says anything. And what many men, I didn't even know this until very recently too, most men cannot achieve that because you need to be on steroids to achieve it. But nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about unattainable body types when it comes to men. But women who literally just look normal, oh, it's your unachievable body type. What? Wow, okay. They're always made to look attractive, these men. But yet the women are the ones that have to be blown up to look like the worst thing possible. I like looking at pretty men and women in my video games. I don't see what the problem is. I swear some of these people need help. If you were that offended over a video game based on people having a normal body type, okay, her butt is bigger. People have big butts. I've seen disproportionate people that are thin up top, like really, really small, like really, really thin, like no muscle whatsoever. And the bottom portion of them looks like it belongs to someone that weighs 500 pounds. They just put all their weight down there and the top is just fine. I've seen people who are really top heavy and look like, you know, stick legs, chicken legs, and from the bottom down, they could pose for a freaking calendar with them legs. And then up top, they're like basketballs. And it's just really interesting to see all the different body types of people. All different body types, shape, and sizes exist. And I agree, you shouldn't vilify or make fun of people. I mean, I don't know. My country, we make fun of people all the time. You know, people call me small ears because my ears are small. I get it. I don't understand why all of a sudden it's a video game character is being offensive because they look normal. It's not like those gigantic boobs on anime girls that are down to their knees, even though I'm sure it exists because I've seen videos of women that have this abnormal growth in their breasts that they're literally like 90% boob and 10% human being. Like, it's just, it's not funny because they're suffering and they have to get surgery to get, like, I feel bad about my boobs, but damn, you can't even walk with them things. And people will look at that doesn't exist. If you can think about it, it probably does. There were people who existed that are 9 feet tall. It probably does. The only thing I can say probably is out of the realms of possibility right now are people that are 20 feet tall. I mean, that would make the news. We'd have kaiju situation. We'd have a lot of questions that need answering at that point. But this is not a big deal. I think that women should be empowered and we have bodies. We shouldn't be made to feel like our bodies are not normal because a video game character offended some people who probably want to look like that. I don't really know what the problem is. They don't change the men, but the women are the ones that get changed and are constantly criticized. You can't even escape in fantasy. And nobody, by the way, is attacking games like Pokemon or anime. They're fine. But for some reason, a game that people are looking forward to, it's not okay because her body is offensive to some people. I don't know. I don't know. But it's an interesting discussion to have. Let's talk about it. What do you guys think? Do you think that maybe her wearing certain clothes is too much? I don't see a problem with it. I personally wouldn't wear that stuff in public, but it would be nice to play a video game character going around dressed like that, where you can get away with wearing stuff like that, beating up things and monsters while dressed like a dominatrix. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. I like jiggle physics. I do. I wish they had it more for men, if you know what I mean, but sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Behave yourself.
The point is, women like it too. Nobody had issues with this until recently, and it's like the very low percentage of people that are insecure or want to look like those women have an issue with it. That doesn't mean everyone should change to suit what's making you feel offended. I don't know, maybe I'm too offensive myself. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.